Star Wars Galaxy's Edge timeline expands at Disneyland. Dave, it's interesting as I remember and I recall Bob Iger and George Lucas at the reopening of Star Tours. They were talking about how all the different timelines, whether it's the prequel trilogy or the original trilogy of films, how people can experience them in new ways. And you might have a cutscene where you're in Star Tours and you're going to Naboo, and then all of a sudden you're going to Bespin, and these parts of the films may not line up canonically, but fun will trump the canon logic of all this because it's all about fun first. And I always stayed with me. And I think that maybe Galaxy's Edge at Star Wars kind of painted itself in a corner by not having some of the more original trilogy characters in the land itself for people to experience. And it looks like they're rolling it back because beginning April 29th over at Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland to start, they're going to have Princess Leia, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Darth Vader all going to be there for different meet and greets and character interactions with the fans. And then they're also plugging in John Williams' signature score of Star Wars films throughout the land. Dave, there's been an interesting response from the fandom about it. Most of it very positive. A lot of it, it's about time. Dave, what say you about this?
Hey, look, they're expanding the franchise. I have mixed feelings about it. I hope that they keep a lot of the Star Wars stuff in the Star Wars land,
Hmm.
which makes it appropriate. You keep it in that environment, and have those meet and greets there. Look, it's appealing to the fan base. I don't know what else to say about it.
It's interesting. All these characters from different eras coming together. You already have Ahsoka and Mandalorian and Grogu coming to the park. That's going to have a lot of ramifications as the film hits theaters this year, really kind of ramping up interest in that era of Star Wars. I feel that initially, I know they wanted it to, the Imagineers envisioned this to be an original trilogy type of experience with those characters. But then all of a sudden they went and did an about face and kind of overlaid this new land of Batu over the original plans and kind of, put this sequel trilogy that J.J. Abrams had envisioned in there. And they didn't quite get the returns that they were hoping for. They're hoping maybe this will kind of bring about some things. My thing is it needs to have some energy. It needs to look and feel like Star Wars. And I really thought it was 65% of the way there. It didn't have some of that energy. And I know that they part of it is they opened it up and they didn't have all the attractions in place and all the characters in place, and they ultimately never did. And
Yeah, they flubbed the opening of that land pretty badly, and there were some people that exited the company because of it. But the thing I would just comment here, there is enough IP with Star Wars that they could just build an entire theme park that's Star Wars based.
yeah,
Star Wars land, whatever you wanna call it, And you could do a hub and spoke like Disneyland and have the different, timelines. You could have, the Andor and the, Mandalorian and the originals and all of that. I think it would be pretty fantastic if they just built one theme park. They should build it in Texas, build it in the middle of the country or something, and make it a massive Star Wars, theme park.
yeah, definitely. They've got so much great IP. Who knows what the future is, but I hope it's something that people will gravitate toward and really dig in, and hopefully this time they will live their Star Wars story.
Yeah,
Let's
and
open it.
And by the way, I just wanna say, I have no inside information. I don't know if they're ever gonna do it, but I'm just commenting, I think they should do it, Maybe they're thinking about doing it. I don't know.
Maybe they'll bring Dave back from writing books.
No,
And
no, I don't know anything about Star Wars. I just enjoy watching the movies.
but you know what? They hired a bunch of people that didn't know a whole lot about Star Wars, and they did okay for themselves. The thing is about story, about the experience. Let's make it deliberate, intentional. Let's have some authenticity behind it, and that will always be great for the experience of people. Interesting stuff happening there at Disney and Lucasfilm this time out. Certainly looking forward to it.